What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Triple H podcast. Happy Hour Hoops here with you today on a very special episode, and that is because your favorite basketball podcast is partnering with Win Streaks. Win Streaks is a very fun, free-to-play sports app where you pick your favorite teams to win from the NBA, NFL, NHL, college basketball, college football. It's 100% free, like I said. You pick 5 games per day on the app. All the players that are on the app can win cash prizes depending on how well your picks go. Contest runs every week from Monday to Sunday on the app. Again, there is no deposits ever. It is 100% free to play. You can even refer your friends and win an additional 50% of what they win. And all you have to do is go there today, use the code HHH when you sign up, and start winning your cash prizes. It's a bunch of fun. The 3 of us are on the app. You get to pick your favorite teams. You can fade your friends if you don't like their picks. And a little extra bonus with Win Streaks and Happy Hour Hoops. We are doing a bit of a giveaway for the start of our partnership. If you use the code HHH when signing up for Win Streaks, follow Happy Hour Hoops on X and follow Win Streaks app on X.com as well. You will be entered to win a $50 Game Time gift card. I know that was a mouthful, but stay with us. Win Streaks is the name. It's a blast, 100% free to play. I really want to emphasize that. Pick the games that we know you're already watching every night, 5 picks a night, and go up against everyone else who's using the app with a chance to win up to $2,000 is the biggest prize every week. And, you're a couple clicks away from being involved in that. So it's a no-brainer, guys. Win Streaks is the best. I know you guys downloaded the app recently. We've been making our picks. We've been talking about our picks with each other. It's a great thing to be a part of.
Oh, yeah. Super user-friendly, super easy app to use. The sports are listed right there. You click your games, you get more points. If you're taking, teams that you think might upset, like last night, Dottie. Last night, I was like, you know what? Basketball hasn't been going too well for me. Let's go NHL. Let's go NHL. My San Jose Sharks that were at the bottom of the barrel, beat the Winnipeg Jets last night. Got some points there. Added it to the, the little weekly point count. I'm a day behind. It's all right. We can catch up. But yeah, see if you guys can beat us, if anything. Triple H, it's easy. HHH promo code, and see if you can beat Steve with the underdogs. Because I'll tell you what, across all the sports, nobody's dogs bark like mine, Duddy.
I do know that. That is facts.
Yeah, it's been a killer week to start on my Win Streaks app. I don't know about you guys, but I've been racking up those wins, looking for those value picks with the points as we talked about earlier. So it's been fun. It's been a fun ride. I'm excited to compete against you guys every week, and excited to compete against the people every week, and we're going to keep this thing rolling.
Yeah, so before we get into the show, just want to reiterate one more time. Use the code HHH when you sign up for Win Streaks. 100% free. NBA, NFL, NHL, college football, college basketball. And then for that game time gift card, guys, follow Happy Hour Hoops, follow Win Streaks on X.com, and then use our code HHH when you sign up. Win Streaks, guy, it's the next big sports app. I'm telling you. And we're happy. We're happy to be partnering with them. And
Absolutely.
the news and notes
Absolutely
will be brought to you by Win Streaks as well, guys. And Steve, I know we got to talk about this guy first, man. I know we got it. He's at the top of the docket. He's been wearing a headband. He's your favorite player. So get into Luka Doncic for us. No Kyrie lately, kind of no problem. He's doing the Luka magic again.
Yeah, real quick though. So shout out Pat Bev. Before I talk, just give me one second.
It is Happy Hour Hoops.
Give him a sec.
Yeah, just give me 1 sec. All right, so let's talk about headband Luka Doncic. Let's talk about headband Luka Doncic, who has been on an absolute tear since he put on the headband for some reason. You're right, the Mavs don't make the play-in tournament. Kyrie gets hurt. Headband Luka comes to play after the play-in tournament. Mavs haven't lost since, and they got some nice quality wins, right? Including the Los Angeles Lakers in a big game last night where Luka, once again, I mean, video game-like numbers, guys. 33 points, 6 rebounds, 17 assists. Currently, Luka is second in NBA MVP odds behind Nikola Jokic. The Mavs are third in the Western Conference, which is exceeding my expectations. You know, I thought the Mavs were going to be a little bit better this year. I talked about how I thought the role players felt like a better fit than the previous couple of years. I didn't really imagine the Mavs playing the way they are right now. Like I said, Tim Hardaway Jr. moving to like a 6-man role off the bench has been unbelievable. He had 32 points last night. Grant Williams has been phenomenal for the Mavs this year. That's just kind of that glue guy you need in your starting lineups, can make threes, can play good defense. And then you got Luka playing like Luka MVP season. And you take a look at what he's doing this year. Every number is kind of increasing, right? Highest 3-point percentage of his career, best free throw percentage of his career. His points are right around like his career high, 32 a game. He's got a career high in assists per game right now, 8.9. The shooting splits across the board have all really kind of increased. And it's just, it's fun to watch, man, because I say it right. You can read a box score all you want. You can look at these guys' stats and be like, yeah, he had a good game. But, man, if you watch that game last night between the Lakers and Mavs, I mean, some of the passes Luka was making. He first had the step-back 3 over Anthony Davis and LeBron James, where it's like, I don't know how a guy gets so much space playing at the pace Luka does with the slow kind of turn, but he does. He just gets so much space, and he shoots over anyone. But the one pass he made, and I know you guys know which play I'm talking about, where he drives into the lane, and it is just a blind pass. He's probably got a layup if he wants it, and just with his left hand, just blind pass, wide open 3. I believe it was to Dante Exum, who's also been playing phenomenal for the Mavs so far. He stepped up too for the past couple weeks, it feels like, and it's just, I'm gonna temper my expectations. I know I talked to you guys a little bit last night. I was like, hey, like, I feel like this might be the MVP year for Luka. I'm feeling really good about it. Just the way he's playing, his maturity, everything. And then Micah has to drop a bomb on me and he goes, I might have the Mavs coming out of the West. I'm right now. I gotta calm down because I won't be able to talk about anything else in this show if we get there. But I'll be honest with you guys, and I think this is like no bias involved in it. I think this is the best Mavs have looked since they drafted Luka as a team around him. I truly believe that. Lively's been fantastic. Hardaway, we talk about, could be 6th man of the year with his role coming off the bench. Grant Williams has been fantastic. We talked about Exum. Kyrie, when healthy, has been great. And I really think the chemistry this offseason has really helped. I think Kyrie and Luka know how to play together. They really didn't know how to play with each other last year. And, man, it just feels like they got the perfect role players in the right spots. And it's just now I got to cross my fingers, stay healthy, because I'll tell you what, like, you start putting a talented team around Luka, he can take this team to places. And the one thing I love about Luka is he will not back down from any challenge. You saw in the Lakers game, did not matter who was guarding him. We've seen it in previous years, big spots. But, man, I'm excited. Cole Anthony, 6th man of the year. You know what? JBC, I usually hate on JBC's comments. I respect that pick, but I'm still going with Tim Hardaway because the bench scoring he has given the Mavs, that just jump off the bench. And like, it's quote unquote 6 man of the year because he's still playing like 35 minutes a night. It's like, it's the classic guy doesn't start and then he plays all the important minutes from the second quarter on. But
yeah,
the hype is there. Hype is there for Luka and the Mavs.
I think it's important we bring up the Mavs as a whole too. So I'm glad we had that in the news and notes because you talk about surprising. That is what the Mavs are doing. I feel like the type of wins they're getting and how well Luka's playing is still somehow surprising to us, but it is, and it's unfortunate. But I feel like the Mavs have gone overshadowed a little bit by the Thunder and the Timberwolves because obviously more surprising from those two teams to be at the top of the West. But also two teams that we, kind of hinted at had a chance to be there. Yeah. And here they are, the T-Wolves 1 seed, Thunder 2 seed, Mavs right behind them at the 3 seed currently in the Western Conference. So, yeah, it's important that we bring up the Mavericks. Luka, since he's put on the headband, has been just a torching, scorched earth, whatever you want to call it. And, yeah, that shot over AD and LeBron last night, that's probably already a framed image in his home, and maybe at his other houses as well, because that is that was just that as a still image, him hitting that shot was incredible. And just massive win for the Mavs. Mavs have been on a tear lately, and you're right, they're doing this without Kyrie Irving, who was playing extremely well himself when he was healthy. So shout out the Mavericks. And we have other news here with Mitchell Robinson. This is tough, man. I believe this happened at the TD Garden last Friday night. Celtics Knicks. Mitchell Robinson out 8 to 10 weeks. It sucks. A guy who's been playing pretty well this year seemed to have a bit of resurgence. Kind of seemed to mend whatever was wrong with the New York Knicks or between the New York Knicks and himself. Seemed to be on a good run, and the Knicks just can't catch a break here. They had RJ Barrett start the season hot. He's kind of cooled off a ton. Yeah, we're getting the comment here. Taj Gibson's season right before
the league, bro. How is that happening?
Right before we hopped on, or a few hours before we hopped on, the New York Knicks signed and brought back Taj Gibson to fill that void of them losing a big man. I feel like I said this like 3 years ago. I don't know how much Taj Gibson can give to a team, and he's still getting signed. So that's something. But I do honestly feel bad for the Knicks and Knicks fans. That's a tough blow to lose a guy like Mitchell Robinson.
Knicks were playing pretty well this year too. They were exceeding my expectations so far this year. Like you said, RJ Barrett kind of took a step. Randall was starting off kind of cold. He's picked it up as of late, and Brunson's been very good. But Robinson was a big piece for them. And it's one of those guys, right? You don't realize when you take a guy out of the lineup, because no one really talks about Mitchell Robinson taking over a game, right? He never really does. But to have that kind of guy there, that body in the paint to play defense when you need to play big against certain opponents, he's there. He can block a lot of shots. He gets a lot of rebounds. And it's just, you lose that from the rotation. It can kind of almost throw everything off, right? Because then certain guys are playing extra minutes. Then it's harder to play big in certain situations when you're playing small ball. And you're like, we're playing these guys 40 plus minutes now. You're not getting everyone your rest. And obviously it's Thibs. Like these guys would play 48 minutes and he wouldn't blink an eye. But
yeah,
it's just one of those things.
Comments about Brunson?
No, what do you say?
Brunson tweaked his ankle in that same Celtics Knicks game last Friday. And there was I think they were down 7 or 8 with 40 seconds left. And Brunson was still in the game when it happened. And they asked Tibbs if he had any regrets about leaving Brunson in the game, and he just goes, no.
That's the most Tibbs answer ever.
Yeah. So yeah, that's I'm not trying to say that to blame Mitchell Robinson's injury on Tibbs, but that is his culture. He's got to coach how he wants to coach, and the fans, referees, and everyone in between, and the players better be okay with that, because it's probably not changing anytime soon. Tough blow for the Knicks, like we mentioned. kind of the opposite fate here for the Memphis Grizzlies, who could not be more at the bottom of the barrel in the NBA right now. Ja Morant should be returning in just 2 games now for the Memphis Grizzlies. He tweeted a couple days ago, I forget what it was, like 8 days, 4 games. It's now 2 games until he returns for the Grizzlies. And boy, do they need it, because they, outside of Jaren Jackson having a few splash games this year, they look, and Desmond Bane, shout out Desmond Bane, he had a high 40-point game a couple weeks ago, but the Grizzlies are real bad, and they've never needed Ja more.
Yeah, I mean, they're 6 games back of the final playing spot already. This is a team that they just didn't feel like they have a spark at all. And obviously, you don't have your superstar in Ja Morant. But I'll tell you what right now, guys. I'm looking at the Western Conference. I'm looking at how it's shaping up right now with the teams in it. I would not be surprised if the Grizzlies made a little bit of a run and got close. I think Ja Morant, he's an emotional player, and he's one of those guys where a lot has happened in the past couple of years, obviously, off court. And I think he's the type of guy that's like, you know what, like when everyone's doubting me, that's when I'm at his best. And I think we could be seeing Ja put up like 40 points a night, because he knows that the only way to get this Grizzlies team, and it's no longer like last year where it's like, oh, they're winning without Ja. Do they really need Ja Morant? This is a team that's like dead in the water without Ja Morant so far this year. And that, I think, almost kind of benefits the Grizzlies a little bit, because you're going to get that type of guy in Ja Morant where we'll see. Now, it could all blow up and he could have another off-court issue, but we could see a type of guy, which I think he will be hyper-focused on basketball and hyper-focused on getting this team, back into like contention of a playoff spot. And I really do think that's going to be no pun intended, but I think that's really going to be like Ja is going to be like that, kind of burst they need, that kind of shot into the Grizzlies where it's like they need this type of player to lead this team. And I think it might have been different if like the Grizzlies were like 14-10, or they're right on the bubble there, and it's like, all right, Ja comes back. No, Ja needs to come back, and he needs to be that guy we thought he was a couple years ago, of an emerging superstar and one of the most dominant iso ball players in basketball.
Yeah, it's wild that the narrative last year was like, oh, this team is still so good without Ja. And now, they need him desperately. So, yeah, there's going to be a welcome return. And just welcome to see him on the court. Like, I'm excited to see Ja back out there. And if he has something to prove and comes out motivated, it could be a special run for him for this, second, third of the season, or whatever the amount. He's out 25 games, I think.
Yeah, he's still got 55, right? 55.
And hopefully he plays most of them, hopefully he's out there, because they really need it.
They need it.
Yeah, it's going to be welcome to see Ja back on the floor, and just on League Pass too.
I just can't wait to see like the first like Thunder Grizzlies or Spurs Grizzlies game where Ja's like, I will dunk over Chat, or I will try to dunk over Wemby. And he just goes right at him, because I'll tell you what, either way, we're going to get one of the most memorable posters of the NBA season. So I'm excited to watch him play basketball again. I really am, because I think it is desperation mode for the Grizzlies. So we're going to see Ja going nuts. He has no other option.
All right, well, let's keep it rolling here from Ja. And we had we had the most watched NBA regular season game, even though it wasn't technically a regular season game, because it does not count towards the regular season record. On Saturday night, the Lakers won the NBA Cup, the in-season tournament. They're raising a banner in 5 days on December 18th. It was a great game Saturday night. It was a great game. It was Anthony Davis' special game. 44-21, I believe it was, just was all over the floor. The Pacers made a good run at the end there. Thought that they were going to they close the gap a little bit, but the Lakers were just too much. LeBron too much in these one-game scenarios. We saw his performance against the Pelicans last Thursday. We didn't even talk to you about the semifinals, but we were like, man, picking against LeBron for a one-game scenario is going to be hard. That Thursday night, crazy. And then going to Saturday night, it was a great game. And so I'm not surprised if the Lakers won, because they felt like a team that just were gonna want it more the whole time. They looked more impressive in the in-season tournament round robin games than they have in like regular season games. They clearly, LeBron even mentioned, like, I've put it upon my shoulders to kind of take this seriously and make it like a big deal for our team, for our franchise, for the league, and everything else. So, how did you feel about the tournament as a whole, Steve, and just the game on Saturday night, seeing the Lakers take the first NBA Cup?
I thought the tournament as a whole was awesome because, like I said, single elimination NBA games just felt a little different to me. They just felt a little more meaningful. I'll be honest with you guys. Lakers taking the cup. I don't like to brag. I don't like to admit, talk about, oh, Steve was right. But if you remember, a couple weeks ago, we're going through the in-season predictions. I said Lakers over Pacers. LeBron's winning this for the legacy. He's gonna have everybody up. He's gonna want to be, the first one to win the in-season tournament. And sure enough, what we see, Anthony Davis probably had the best game of his season so far. Austin Reeves was incredible. Just whenever the Lakers are in like a big game, need to win, just take Austin Reeves everything. Like he just plays up, and LeBron just had his team play up, and obviously LeBron himself played phenomenal. But it just kind of felt that way, right? You had that feeling going in that like this just kind of meant a little more to the Lakers. Obviously, I think the Pacers too, especially a lot of guys on that roster could have really taken that $500,000. But it just kind of felt like LeBron wants to win this for his legacy. And I thought it was great. I think we saw, a couple things that I thought were really cool for the NBA season, like going forward. We saw the Pacers in, must-win games against three very good opponents that you could very well see in the NBA playoffs if the Pacers do keep the pace they're up at right now and get there. They played the Celtics fantastically. They played the Bucks great. And then they played the Lakers tough. Obviously, like I said, you're not beating LeBron in a one-game elimination when his legacy's on the line there. It's just not happening. But we saw that. We saw Milwaukee, what Milwaukee can kind of do when they get going, where maybe, Milwaukee, we were kind of worried about them with their slow start and maybe Dame's regressed a little bit. Milwaukee's still going to be there. They're still going to probably have a deep playoff run. And we saw this Lakers team, which a lot of people were talking about. Was it a fluke last year at the end of the year? Can they carry that into this year? And I'll tell you what, guys, like it's hard for me to say that this Lakers team, if they stay healthy, can't make a run in the West again. I think they've built a great team around Bron, and I don't know what he's doing, what type of modern medicine, fountain of youth, whatever it is. But when you need somebody to step up, man, it's unbelievable. It's just one of those things. Like you need a guy to just step up. It does not matter with LeBron James. It just he steps up, and so I think
LeBron was probably Taj Gibson's motivation to get back into the league.
I guess so. I mean, I will say, because I grew up as kind of a LeBron hater, mainly for the fan base, where I was just like, I can't stand these fans. As a basketball fan, you just have to appreciate what he's doing, especially at his age. It's just crazy to me. Yeah, I think he hit 4 threes in the Pelicans game. I think it was 4-4 from downtown. I mean, he just made it look so easy. They're blowing out the Pelicans in the second half. And then, like in the Pacers game, it's
the Pelicans just wanted that free trip to Vegas, bro. They were like, we'll take this weekend. We'll be chilling. We'll be good. Ain't no problems here. Like that was an interesting performance from the Pelicans. But yeah, I mean, it was impressive to see. It's still impressive to see what LeBron's doing this year. I've seen enough of the Austin Reeves LeBron memes too that to go to what you're saying too, where if it's Reeves in a big game, like he's gonna come through.
He just steps up every time.
Are you guys with the December banner hanging for the in-season tournament? And this is a dig at Lakers. I don't know where I stand on it. I'm curious, and I'd be asking this question if anyone had won the in-season tournament. So this is not a bash on the Lakers, but where do you guys land with this?
I will say this. It's the first one, so I'll give a little more leadway there. It's the first one ever. If we start getting to 6 years into the in-season tournament and we have a team that's like 8-10 on the year, but all their wins happen to be the season tournament games and they win and they want to raise a banner, then we'll have other questions. Also, too, though, I mean, you thought LeBron wasn't raising a banner for if the Lakers were going to win. You thought LeBron wasn't going to make a big deal out of that? Come on now. Come on. We know LeBron better than that.
I think every team should raise the banners. You won something. Raise that banner. That's
Yeah.
where I'm at with it. That's where I'm at with it.
And it did feel like it meant a little more to the players, right? It did feel like you had that playoff feeling when you watched the games. I don't know how you guys felt, but it felt like I was watching a playoff game when I watched those in-season tournament single elimination games. So it did, like, my whole thing, like, where I was a little shaky on the in-season tournament was like, are the players going to really care? And I think we saw as the games kind of went on, and then the single elimination games, these players very well cared. Like, if you just would have had someone blind watch one of these games, you didn't tell them the date, you just watched them, showed them the game, they would have guessed it would have been a playoff game, without a doubt.
100%. So yeah, it was a great in-season tournament. We got a couple more news and notes before we get into the big stories of the week, which unfortunately have nothing to do with the court. So I'm glad we're getting through the basketball on the court. I mean, because I'm glad we're getting through the basketball talk early because we have some off the court, all sorts of off the court stuff, or just non-basketball related stuff to go through. The Suns' big three are finally playing together tonight.
Have we checked to see it's not a last-minute scratch?
I know.
I've heard this story 5 times already.
It's a late game in Phoenix. We'll see. Maybe Bradley Beal is the late scratch. So maybe we shouldn't get ahead of
seen this story
here,
too many times, Micah.
My question about this is I've had a theory about the way teams were going to go about the early season since the beginning of the year, that they were going to use these injuries to kind of use it as rest and take the first 20 games to just use it as an extended preseason and then kind of roll into form. Do we feel like that's just what the Suns have been doing, and now we're getting there? They want to be full throttle on Christmas Day, so everybody's going to come out swinging for a couple weeks, and then they can actually have their big showing on Christmas and then get full go ahead. Because it's been interesting. I mean, the Beal injury, who knows how bad he was hurt and everything like that. Beal's been hurt the last couple years, like on and off with some small things, but it seems like every time one of them was going to come back, the other guy wasn't, and it seems like it's been an extended preseason for the Suns more than anything else. I don't know. That's just my conspiracy hat on.
Yeah, no, I don't hate that take because I feel you there, where it feels like every time that like one of them's starting to get in a groove, get going, it's like, yeah, the other one's just gonna be hurt for a couple games, and it's just one of those things where it's like you come back and look, and you're like, he doesn't look like he's coming off an injury. He doesn't look like he's been hurt for a stretch of games. So I don't know. I mean, I could see why they're doing it, but also if you're the Suns too, wouldn't you want to have the three play together a little bit to just see how that works? I mean, we're already more than a quarter into the season. We're 20 plus games into the season. Wouldn't you want to see that already? I don't know. And like I said, do I even trust that the big three is going to play tonight? We'll see. I had 9:55 Kevin Durant out for the game. Oh, okay, cool. Like that's just how it feels with like Suns games. It's just like we expect the big three. They're like, the big three's going to play tonight, and then one of them sits out. So we'll see. I'd love to see him play. I'd love to see how it works.
The league is hilarious putting Durant against the Warriors and Nets back-to-back nights right after the season tournament too.
That's actually very true.
They're like, how do we keep these ratings up from the end of this in-season tournament? Let's put KD against the Nets and the Warriors back-to-back nights, see how it goes. And even last night's Lakers-Mavs game was a big game. I think it was a great game all the way through. So yeah, exciting times in the league on the court. Let's get some off the court stuff going because it's been a crazy week. Zion Williamson has been the story of the week. Last night he had a wonderful performance. He had 36 points in last night's game. He was awesome. Yep. Or was it 2 nights ago? Last night, whatever it was. Yeah. 2 nights ago, responding to the criticism that basically there was a story that came out about Zion that said that he just hasn't been in shape. He hasn't been conditioning like the Pelicans thought he would, not holding up his end of the bargain. And Stephen A doubled down on that, saying that chefs in the city all know Zion, see him all the time. They said that he would eat the table.
Eat the table is an outrageous thing to say.
Eat the table. A great point about this I saw a clip from the Lockdown Pelicans podcast, is there's no chef that wants Zion to come to his restaurant and that is gonna leak to Stephen A. Smith that Zion is in there
Right.
like eating like
Right.
this and everything. Because why is he gonna go out and eat? And he still might not now at this point, for all we know. But the talk kind of got crazy, but then Zion answers it with 36 points. But he obviously had a rough game on Thursday, and
Yeah, he did.
this has been a criticism of him basically his whole career at JVC. He'll eat the table.
He'll eat the
Maybe he
table, which
will.
is
He
crazy.
doesn't
Yeah,
look like
yeah.
the thing is, it's been like 2 years running now. We're in the off season, loading right into the season. Zion looks like he's in great shape. Looks more fit and everything else. And you see him right now. He doesn't look like he's in peak shape basketball
No.
wise. This might just be who he is though. Like that's what it comes down to. Is it might just be really hard for him. Like some guys just like they get big during the season. He can't work out all the time. They're on the road half the time. It's not like these guys are lifting, doing conditioning, everything like that. I just think it's if there is an issue and they're leaking that about Zion, that's an issue with the organization with one thing. And that's my biggest thing with the why should we take the Pelicans' word to be trustworthy? Like
Yeah.
this has been a horribly run organization for a long time now.
Yeah.
But clearly the infrastructure hasn't been there to support him, and they haven't gotten to him somehow. So I don't know. Like you can blame Zion if this is true and he's not taking conditioning and keeping himself in shape seriously enough. But also at some point you got to look at this organization who has had major issues for years and years and years and put some blame on them for not insulating this superstar with a better setup to stay in shape, to be as effective as he can be, or maybe they shouldn't have signed him to a mega deal because what is his incentive at this point? If he does not care about just winning, which we know a lot of players in the league don't just care about winning, they want to get their second contract and everything else. They gave Zion the money, and he was hurt when he got the money too. So it's a kind of a catch-22 for me. What is your kind of view of the situation, though?
I mean, like I said, I think with Zion too, I almost unfair expectations for him, right? We talk about when Zion came out of college, was #1 overall pick. This guy had as much hype as anyone. It was supposed to be a generational talent, and then the first, couple games he plays for the Pels, everyone's watching. The ratings are through the roof. I was like, Zion's going to take over this league. And next thing you know, Jake, we see the injuries. Then we see all the talk about he's out of shape. He can't play. Well, he should be able to play by now, but he can't play. Is it because he's not in shape? Is it because he's actually hurt? And all the speculations, all the rumors, circulate around Zion. And it's one of those things where now it is if he's struggling in these big spots because not everyone's watching the Pelicans every night now, right? Not all the lights are on Zion. A little bit of the hype has gone to other players after like the hype of Zion kind of wore off a little bit from his own draft class. It went to Ja Morant in a couple of years. And then obviously Ja had his own things, but now you have the hype around Wemby. You got hype around Chet. You have these other players in the Western Conference, younger players that are playing out of their minds, SGA, Luka, etc. But it's not everyone's watching Zion every single game now. And he's just kind of almost became like an afterthought a little bit in the Pelicans, besides like with the media trying to say, just this guy, why isn't this guy a superstar? Like, is it because he's out of shape? Is it because he doesn't care? He's not worth the money. He wasn't worth the hype. I'll be honest with you, Mike. The easiest way to shut him up is just to play well. And if we look in the in-season tournament, Zion was the opposite of playing well. He struggled against the Kings. He struggled against the Lakers mightily in both those games. Brandon Ingram had to carry him in the Kings. And then the Lakers game, we know how that went. The Lakers blew him out of the water. But it's one of those things, though. That's when everyone was watching. That's when the light was on Zion. So, of course, all this stuff's going to come out after that. Do you think anyone really cared? He scored 36 against the Timberwolves, besides basketball fans that watch him every day or Pelicans fans? No, not really. They want to see Zion do it, on a big stage in important games. And, Stephen A's, one of those guys just loves to run his mouth, and a lot of them do. And it's very easy to be like, hey, Zion has been bad. He's been a disappointment. He's out of shape. He does not care. But at the end of the day, guys, like, is it really crazy to be like, maybe like we had a few unfair expectations for Zion? Maybe thinking that he was going to become a generational star, that he was going to take over this game like people thought, like his athleticism of what he could do. Maybe that's a little unfair. Maybe he is one of those kind of like B-tier type stars. where he's going to he's still putting up fine numbers, 23 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Like, he's still putting up solid numbers. Like, if he didn't have the name associated with him, Zion Williamson, you'd look at that and be like, he's a solid, 1A, 1B type player with Brandon Ingram. But our expectations are like, he has to be much better than that. Maybe that's not the case. And the other thing, too, is I've always kind of questioned his work ethic a little bit. But if you don't have that hyper type of work ethic and you're, a star, people are still going to judge you because they're like, he can get to that next level. Maybe Zion doesn't want to get to that next level. Like you said, he got paid. I think he enjoys it right now of his spot in New Orleans. Seems like he gets along well with Brandon Ingram. And it's like one of those things like, hey, if the guy wants to eat, let the guy eat. Maybe we can't have expectations that he's going to be a top 5 player in the world and he was going to carry this Pelicans team. I think sometimes we set unfair expectations on players, and when they don't get to it, everyone wants to find something to blame. Maybe we're the ones to blame, where the expectations were just too high for this kid coming in, and people didn't realize, some of the red flags of the work ethic, of the, he was out of shape at Duke too. Let's not pretend that this guy was, jacked at Duke and he was playing every game and he was the most in shape athlete on the court. Like, maybe just the expectations were just a little unfair for him. And he's still a great basketball player. He's widely talented. He's a star. But maybe he doesn't have, what it takes to become that next level of a superstar.
I think that's a great point. And expectations have been crazy for Zion since high school, since the highlights.
Yeah.
We all watched the highlight clips of him dominating high schoolers and everything else. And also, I think that he went to the wrong situation. There's so many players in the league that have been ruined by going to the wrong situation, and he was asked to be the savior of the Pelicans. And this Pelicans organization has not proven that they can build a consistent winner. They're probably the worst organization in basketball besides the Hornets. Like, they consistently over the last 20 years.
What? Sorry.
Yeah.
I had to cough. That's my bad.
Hey, if there's somebody who takes joy in the Pistons right now, it's Jake Mike, and that's for sure. But it was a tough situation. Like, if he ends up, I can't say Memphis because we saw how that is. Like, maybe the draft was just cursed. Maybe that's all it was more than anything.
True.
But it's I feel like it's a situation, but also all the red flags that you said, like, they were all there. Zion looks like he maybe a little bigger than he was, but he was not in shape at Duke. He had like hamstring injury and different nagging things while he was at Duke.
There was work ethic questions coming into the draft too. Like, they were all there. But we had these expectations. He always going to be next LeBron. Maybe it's a little bit our fault too.
Yeah. So apologize for the connections issues. I know you guys haven't heard my voice in a few, but I'm back in now. Hopefully it's working. No, but Zion, I thought handled himself super well in the press conference too. I don't know.
I do too.
Like, I know, Steve, you touched on it. Like, Stephen A was kind of talking out of pocket about him, and for him to go in there and kind of say those things, I thought that was big of him.
Mm-hmm. It's always my fault,
yeah,
JBC.
It is your fault, Steve. You hyped him up way too much. You got him going.
No, but I think Dunny, you're right. Where it's just like, you got to give Zion a little bit of credit too, right? He's not. It's not like he's playing bad. Not playing like he's superstar. Yeah. He's still a solid player, and it's got to be frustrating where every single press conference you have people asking you, "Oh, did you hear what so and so said about you? Did you hear what this person said about you? What are your thoughts on that?" If I'm a pro, I'm getting pissed at that. It's like, dude, just watch me on the basketball court. You want to find someone else who's going to average 23, 5, and 6? Then go ahead, find someone, because you know what? I think I'm doing all right now, and it's just. I think Dunny's right. He did handle the press conferences, fine. And I think you got to give him credit at least some point there, because that's got to get so frustrating. Because you got to think that's all he hears. That's the only thing in his mentions. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing he hears. That's the only thing the media wants to talk about when it comes to Zion. And it's like, you know what? Maybe we should just treat him a little differently than what the previous expectations were.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, it's got to be frustrating for the guy. Like, I feel for him to a certain extent, because he's had the microscope on him forever, and he hasn't been supported properly. So I think there's a lot of issues. All right, we got to get into the big stories from last night, and then we'll hop out of here. 2 ejections were the story of the NBA last night for much different reasons.
Yeah.
For basically opposite reasons. Nikola Jokic ejected for what was essentially, I don't know what he did. We saw Jaylen Brown get ejected last week for what seemed to be like one of the softest ejections we've ever seen. This might have
been the
topped it
softest.
right away. I watched that clip like 6 times and could not figure out for the life of me what had happened.
I mean, I obviously, right, that you watch the play. He thinks he gets fouled going under the basket, like trying to put in a layup or whatever, thinks he gets fouled. And he's running back, and he turns, says something to the ref, and keeps on running. And then all of a sudden you're tossed. Like, I don't understand, Jake, where an ejection comes from that. You want to tee him up. He goes in his post-game press conference too. He keeps repeating the phrase, "It is what it is." Jokic admitted he said a word that probably shouldn't be said. He also said, "I said a word that a lot of guys say and they don't get ejected for it." And it felt like one of those where it's like, what, did the ref feel like he was bigger than the game? Where I'm just going to toss out this superstar, like let him know he can't say that to me? Because, buddy, you're not bigger than Nikola Jokic. He's a 2-time MVP. And also, do you realize what league you are in? Do you realize what league you are reffing in? I can go back to any game of the past week of any of the superstars, and when they don't get a call, and see them barking at the ref longer than Jokic did. Well, I mean, we saw it last night in the Lakers-Mavs game, both LeBron and Luka. There was one play where Luka thought he got fouled under the basket, and he starts barking at the ref. The Mavs still have the ball. They got an offensive rebound. They're playing 4-on-5 because Luka's staring at the ref and barking at him. You've seen LeBron. I mean, we've watched LeBron long enough. Micah, right? He goes in, he drives, he thinks he gets fouled. Next thing you know, the team's going back on the court. LeBron is talking to the ref the whole time. And it's like, I get it. Those superstars, they should have, a little bit of that, privilege where they're able to do that.
LeBron won a game by his with his relationship with the refs last week. Like,
right. So it's like, what happened with Jokic here? Like, I don't understand. He did nothing that I thought was different than any other superstar when they don't get a call. And the biggest thing, I think he did a little bit less where he was still kind of running back. It was just a turn and, said a few words. Now, I don't know the exact words he said. Jokic said a word that, you probably shouldn't say, but he goes, guys use it all the time. Who knows? You use your imagination to figure out what he said. But regardless, that is not an ejection. You want to tee him up, I guess. But like we've seen a lot of guys bark at refs and not get teed up for a lot less. But an ejection is just so outrageous. And also, too, I gotta I feel bad for all the Nuggets fans who went to the Chicago Bulls game, or anyone who was in attendance at that game. Jamal Murray's out for the game. And then Nikola Jokic gets tossed. I mean, you got to feel bad. It wasn't right. I don't understand how they can justify that he should have been tossed for what he did. Superstars, we're talking about the NBA. Superstars complain when they don't get calls. It's been happening since I started watching the NBA. What are we doing here?
I'll just say gambling is legal in Illinois. That's the only thing that I can. That's the only thing I can.
He wasn't even a threat for what? You think the ref bet on the Jokic unders? He had 4 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. What's he gonna do?
If that's what it was, JVC, that no shot that you should get ejected.
Yeah,
these refs are going crazy. Then
it's nuts. JBC, if that's the case, we hear that, you hear a guy get mic'd up in an NBA game, you hear that all the time. I mean. I just can't believe it. And to do it to a guy like Jokic too, who is a superstar. It just felt like a spot where the ref thought he was bigger than the game. It's like, what are you doing? Call the game. You want to tee him up? Fine. That's one thing. To toss him for that, buddy. Yeah, here's the meme again. I did the last show. You're not that guy, pal. You're just not.
It is wild. It is wild. But what's more wild?
God.
Should he be done? Should they just get rid of Draymond? Just get him out of here because this is crazy. I checked. I was literally about to go to bed, Steve. I'm tucking myself into bed. I was not even watching the game, and I saw your text, and you said OMG Draymond, and I was like, oh no, what could he have done? And it was the last thing I could have expected. How is he?
He karate chopped him. What are we doing?
His explanation after was, I didn't intend to do it. I tried to draw fouls with my arms and I just swung and I hit him. I've never, out of
That is
all the
not
years
just
of
a swing.
basketball I've watched, have you ever seen anybody do that? That's the thing, is like, I've never seen anybody selling a call just end up clubbing somebody on the side of the head.
I mean, he bashed him, and it's one of
He
those
got
things,
him.
Micah, where I want to try to defend Draymond, right? I want to try to defend this guy. I think when he's on the court, he is a very good basketball player. I think he's a very good defender. He's a good playmaker. He does things what you need. I don't think the Warriors are the type of dynasty they are without Draymond. But how long can we defend the guy at this point? Like you talked about it with the whole Rudy Gobert choking out Rudy Gobert. You were like, I thought it was going to be a couple game suspension. You're like, no, they're going to probably give it 5 because it's Draymond and this keeps happening. How many we think this is? He's definitely going to get suspended at least 5 for it, right? You can't. I think it was worse than the Rudy Gobert because then he's trying to defend. He's like making a basketball play. I'm moving my arms flat, dude. You just karate chopped Nurkic right across the face. What are we doing? Like, we're playing basketball here, Draymond.
What was he trying to sell? Like, what do you mean you were turning around and swinging and trying to sell a call to him?
So
Like, 'cause
what?
I've
That
tried
he's
to watch
holding
it.
you?
Yeah, that's what, like, I've tried to watch it and just, like, really objectively be like, okay, what would Draymond actually be trying to accomplish here? And I just don't understand. And the
And
thing is, you
that's
can't give this man the benefit of the doubt at
no.
all. He
No,
deserves
you can't give
none
him
of it.
the opposite of the benefit of the doubt. And the thing is, like, if you're going to try to sell a call, you shouldn't be the one who punches the guy in the face and he's on the ground. And like, you're not getting that. You're not getting that call. It's just one of those things. Like I said, I'm watching the Warriors game last night, and I kind of didn't see it in the moment. I just see like in pain, and then all of a sudden they're stopping, they're reviewing. I'm like, what are they reviewing? I watched the replay. I literally see Draymond's arm come across like he's punching him in the face. I gotta text Micah. I gotta let him know. Draymond's at it again, man. I know you're probably in bed. It's always the late game when the Warriors play, buddy. And I agree. Like I think history too. I think the history for Draymond, I know a lot of people in the chat are saying it. I think it's going to hurt him, where it's probably going to be a longer suspension. I don't think it'll be a year. I really don't. I don't think they're going to kick Draymond out of the league, but it's going to be one of those things where eventually you got to put down the hammer on this, because clearly these few game suspensions, he's not learning his lesson. And, you have that, you don't want to have that reputation as a dirty player. And I really don't think he's a dirty player trying to hurt players. I just think sometimes he plays in a way where lets the emotions get the best of him, or it is just like he plays physical where he thinks he's playing a full contact sport sometimes. I don't think he's a dirty player like I'm trying to hurt this player type of deal, but I think sometimes he forgets that basketball isn't a full contact sport.
Bomani Jones, I was listening to him earlier during his live show, and the comparison they made is there's that one guy that just has no impulse control in his life, like that. Like we have, like you and I have this little trigger in our brain where if you want, like somebody bumps into you on the street or something, for a second you're like, oh man, then you're like, okay, calm down, whatever. Draymond has zero of that. There's no impulse control, whatever, and so he might be. But the thing is, I don't agree with that is that he tries to justify. He always feels like he can justify his actions.
He tries to play the victim. You're not the victim here.
The condescending way, he's like, I always apologize for something I would never apologize for something that I meant to do. I didn't mean to do this. Like you didn't need to stand up and be a tough guy at the beginning of that statement. Just say you're sorry. Yeah. And so that's like, how do we feel? Like you can't feel any sympathy for him in these moments. And I looked at Steph right away. Every time I keep watching that highlight, Steph just staring like, what are you doing, bro? Like, why are we doing this again?
You want to speak about the downfall of the Warriors real quick, because I know we're talking about Draymond, but did you see at the end of last game, they needed a 3. Wiggins and Clay were on the bench. Were on the bench. It's not good for the Warriors right now. He's just staring up into the ceiling. It feels like every night, like what's going to happen? Like I need some type of help. I don't know what Steve Kerr's doing there.
Finally pulled the plug on those guys and put the young guys out. And the thing is, Draymond is the only guy who's playing well with Steph.
I know.
Like, he's the only starter doing things.
You can't play well out on the court, though.
So the only precedent, I think, the only instance I can think of, and I'll take credit from Get Up. They were talking from this, not take credit, give credit to Get Up. So they were talking about it earlier this morning. When Ron Artest elbowed James Harden and he got 7 games for that though. And that's Ron Artest who had started the biggest melee in NBA history.
True.
He got 7 games after that elbow to the head of James Harden. So he got 5 already. Maybe it's 10.
I think it might be 10. I think that's a fair length because it happened, we're within a month or after a little over a month, right?
He's been ejected 3 times in a month.
That's insane.
It's crazy.
That's insane, man. Like it, and like I said, I don't think he's a dirty player. I don't think he's a guy a lot of guys hate. I think he is kind of well liked by his teammates and players around the league. I really do. But you got to lay down the hammer at some point, and you can't keep allowing this. It's just, what are you gonna do? I mean, but I'll tell you what, he gets suspended for 10 games. Warriors are in big trouble. I know they're already kind of in trouble. They're in big trouble.
Well, we did. You said you didn't want to give yourself credit about the Lakers. We can give ourselves credit about all of Warriors.
I'll give myself credit about both. Yeah. I'll give myself credit about both, man. I'm fine taking the credit for both of them. But yeah, I know we thought this was kind of going to be the year. Maybe we didn't think it would be as quickly this season, but it looks bad, man. It looks really bad. And like you said, I'll take your word for the suspension. You were right about the 5 games on the Rudy Gobert play. I don't think it's crazy to see 10 games here.
It might be the only answer, Dooley. It might be the only answer. Get him nice and happy.
Get him into his Zen mode, right? Yeah, let Draymond go to his happy place.
All right, so before we get out of here, a great thank you to our sponsor and our new partner, Win Streaks. I've got the app up right here. If you can see
you gotta pick.
Can't really see it, kind of see it. So you make your picks, and so it gives you Win Streaks points. So the Pelicans, out of 100, so the Pelicans and Wizards playing tonight. Obviously, we know the Wizards not doing too hot this year. So you get 73 points added to your streak if the Wizards win. You only get 27 if the Pelicans win. Like same deal with the Sixers. Sixers 12 win streaks points if they win against the Wizards to 88. So you get some nice value if you take the underdog and want to make that jump. Right now, the current leader is at 539.
Not me,
539 points. Not me either. I'm at 229. So download that Win Streaks app with our new sponsors. 100% free to play. You make up to 5 picks per day. So if you don't want to risk all your points and take some L's, you don't have to. If you're just confident in one thing, 100 players win cash prizes every week, up to $2,000. Contests run every week, Monday to Sunday. So you get Monday as the start of your week. If you're not doing well during the week, you're just, we've all been there making our picks for games. Sometimes the weeks just don't hit. You get a reset every week. There's no deposits ever. It's 100% free to pay always. Refer your friends and you win an additional 50% of what they win. And if you use our code, Happy Hour Hoops.
It's a hard code to remember. HH.
Yeah, HHH, just 3 letters. Right now, you're entered to win a $50 Game Time gift card. And so if you use the promo code, we can see your name in the app. We'll be able to do it. And for this contest, if you want to win this card, download Win Streaks using the promo code HHH. Follow us at Happy Hour Hoops 1 on Twitter or on Instagram. And same thing with Win Streaks app on Twitter or on Instagram. We'll be posting this as its own thing the whole rest of this week. So this won't be the last time you see this giveaway. So you have an opportunity. We'll be picking the winner. I'm spinning the wheel next week on the beginning of the show. I can't wait. We're spinning the wheel. We're doing it live. There's no collusion. We sent this to friends and family and stuff. We're not picking them. There's going to be this will be completely fair. We're all at the mercy of the wheel. We're all at the mercy of the wheel. We'll see what happens. Best, man.
We'll know
Go download Win Streaks. Free picks every night. We all know you love picking games and being able to brag about your friends about your picks. Like, this is the perfect way to do it. It's a blast. You get 5 picks a night. Go out there and do it. Do it like Dooley says, for free.
For free, fun. Exactly. Come in the comments and roast me when you beat me for the week.
Yes.
When you beat me for the week, come in and roast me. I know we got a lot of people in the comments right now. Scott Downman Win Streaks, use HHH. Go beat Steve, and then come in the comments and roast me next week. That's all you got to do. And I'll tell you what, just because I love the people, Jake. I love the people that are going to download this app and they're going to use the promo code HHH on the Win Streaks app. I'm going to tell you right now, Pacers 72 win streaks points against the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't care. It's on the road. That's a biased Steve play right there. I'll take this. I'll risk it. I'll risk it for the biscuit. 72 points for the Pacers, 8 p.m. I'm locking in and watching that game anyways. So there you go. And you know what? Maybe we got college basketball. Maybe I'll have some college basketball picks going down the line. Because
I got 2 picks for you.
Basketball. Oh, he's got one up me. He's got one up me with the 2 picks. What we got?
I got 2. LeBron and Anthony Davis are questionable tonight against the Spurs.
Oh,
you got some value there with the Spurs 63 points right now. I'm just saying, Wemby, they got 2 games back to back. I'm guessing LeBron is saving it for the national game on Friday night. So get that Spurs win in there, and then the Buffalo Sabres on the road. Sabres after dark. Yeah, Sabres after dark in Colorado. They beat Colorado already this year. I think 65 win streaks points.
Okay.
I kind of like it. I'm also go with these Winnipeg Jets too. You said you had a nice Jets win.
I had Sharks over the Jets. Sharks over the Jets last night.
Bounce back for the Jets then.
Against the hottest goalie in hockey right now, Cam Talbot.
Hey, I'm just saying, it's out there. Yeah, so go get out there, get your picks in. We'll keep posting this. We're gonna keep working with our great sponsor here. The app is so much fun. And have a good one, folks. Thank you for joining, and we'll be back next week.
Appreciate you guys.